evening. This is talkSPORT. This is Kickoff. I'm Natalie Sawyer, and with me it is Danny Murphy and Darren Lewis. Lots for us to get through after another eventful weekend in the Premier League. And a little bit later on, we will turn our attentions to England, who have secured their place at the World Cup, but still maybe a few places still up for grabs in Thomas Tuchel's World Cup squad. That to come, though, a little bit later on. Right now, let's cast our eye to what happened in the 5:30 kickoff, which saw Sunderland score a dramatic late equaliser as they continued their unbeaten start to life at the Stadium of Light as they drew 2-2 with Arsenal. It meant Arsenal's 8-game winning streak came to an end, and also their clean sheet record went as well after conceding 2 goals, as I've mentioned, with Brian Brobby getting a late equaliser in the 94th minute. Arsenal then, you could obviously say that it's a point gained, or is it 2 points lost? How do we see this one?
It's definitely 2 points lost. They will have looked at the fixture and felt, despite the good start for Sunderland to the season, they would have looked at it and seen it as 3 points. Definitely, a side promoted to the Premier League, good start under Regis Lebris, good players at the club, former player leading it, driving it in Granit Xhaka, but they would have seen themselves to have the defensive nous and the quality all over the pitch to be able to go there and win. So I definitely think they look at it as 2 points dropped. Now, does that mean the sky is going to fall in? Clearly not. They've been outstanding so far this season. It was always going to be the case. I know I sat and gushing about them, and you said, Danny, sooner or later they will concede. Just didn't think it would be against Sunderland. But I don't think that there's anything wrong with the mentality. I don't think that there are cracks beginning to show. I think it's more the law of averages starting to kick in.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it shows 2 things. One, when you play the best teams, you have to score first to give yourself a chance. Got to. Because what it does is it gives everybody something to fight for and hang on to. It refocuses and gets the fans with you, and that's really important. And the other thing, that if you defend with great discipline and in large numbers, it's hard to break through. No matter how much quality you've got. And I thought what Sunderland did particularly well is they chose the moments to try and go forward and hurt them. But generally, they defended with a 5, loads of numbers in front, and kept and concentrated. And ironically, I think they'll actually be sitting there really angry with the goals they conceded, because the first one was a giveaway. The keeper's played a straight ball into a midfield player who's taken too many touches and got robbed by Declan Rice, who's brilliant at that anyway. Why is he... You're 1-0 up. Why is he doing that?
Absolutely.
And the second one was where he's got Trossard. He's fine. He's going nowhere. Show him on his left. He tries to read the one where he does the little shimmy and lets him in on his right. And it's a hell of a goal, to be fair. So they'll actually be looking at it going, we've helped them. It wasn't even like Arsenal opened them up that often. So I think it shows you, or shows a lot of teams in the Prem, that if you play Arsenal and you are disciplined and you are pragmatic, you can nullify them.
Can I just ask, so say you were playing now, would you look at that and, certainly as a senior player, for example, go into your dressing room and say, they've done that, that's how we should be approaching the next game?
Well, my success at Fulham came from that, in that we were very realistic about who we were and how good we were or weren't. So we got a lot of good results against teams better than us because we gave them respect. You have to, or Bournemouth are the exception to this rule. They tend to give nobody respect and go after them. Hence the fact the City game, they had plenty of chances themselves but got done the other way. A bit like they did against Villa, to be fair. They went after Villa and Villa done them. But yeah, at Fulham we had a similar mentality of close the spaces, condense, frustrate. And I remember at times, I remember my old mate Jamie Carragher said we got a 0-0 at Anfield once. I don't even know if we had a shot. And we'd been playing Europe in the week, to be fair. So we'd gone there and just defended. And he said to me, he come off and he was fuming and he was saying to me, that's not football, you can't play like that. And I was laughing my head off. I was like, what do you want us to do? And Sunderland did it really well. And of course, that goal from Ballard, which came from nothing really, it was a hell of a goal, wasn't it? I think it was a long free kick, was it?
That's right, yeah. And
I think he won or he challenged the first one, then it dropped to him. And all of a sudden, Arsenal then you can't be patient anymore because you're 1-0 down. And the intensity went up for us in the second half. And that's where I say the first goal is important, because their quality and their persistence generally means they're going to get one. But yeah, it was, I think we'll see teams, now Arsenal have set this bar of their level early in the season, I think we will see teams more and more compact against Arsenal and just sit in and say, come on then. Especially at home, when you play them at home. Problem is, doing it at home, it was okay for Sunderland because the fans are just on a roller coaster, so happy with what they're seeing and where they are. They were never going to whinge about them sitting in, whereas, I don't know, let's say West Ham, if they did that at home to Arsenal, I think the fans get on them more. I'm just using them as one example.
But I think the reason for that is because West Ham we're picking out West Ham, but another team that had been in the Premier League for any length of time, there would be an expectation that they would have the capability.
To have a go,
Whereas Sunderland, they've just come up. We all, myself included, I kind of look at them and think, well, they're going to park the bus against Arsenal, who have just got so much quality to undo them, individual quality as well as team quality. And yet, as you say, there were times when they came out to play.
And I tell you what, just mentioning Ballard, because I think he does deserve a mention. I think he's one of the few that's still in the side from last season.
He's ex-Arsenal as well.
Yeah, but he shows you that even Gabriel can be out muscled and out jumped. There's not many Ballards, by the way, in the Prem, but if you fight fire with fire sometimes, he was causing them all sorts of problems.
I'm a big fan, and thanks for raising Ballard, because I'm a big fan of the players who were with any club in the lower leagues and know how hungry and how much it matters to a football team to win, not just against the biggest teams, but against the smaller teams, but just to win at the highest level. I'm a really, really big fan of that.
Well, let's hear from Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta then, who admitted he wasn't surprised by the performance of Sunderland.
We knew it was going to be a really tough place to come. It was very disruptive, especially in the first half. We had to play that kind of game, and credit to them, the manner they set up and the kind of game that they want to throw you into. We conceded the goal in a manner that we are all, I think, very disappointed, but we reacted really, really well. Scoring the goal, being very, very dominant, scoring the second goal, and then, you have to hang in there in the last few minutes. You know everything is going to be direct, long balls, long throw-ins, direct deep free kicks, and you have to deal with the people in the box. We haven't done it in the best way. And one of the reasons is because they've done it really, really well as well. When they win the first ball, the way the striker puts his leg in front of David. And then we have a massive chance to win it again with Ricky and Mikel Merino. And these are the details and the margins to win or draw in this league. So it gives me a lot of perspective, what the team has done in the last few weeks, winning 10 in a row and no conceding goals and 7 attacking players out and fit, and time to reset and go again.
One of the interesting stats from Sunderland as well is that no side has scored more goals in the 90th minute onwards than them. 5 goals they've scored, which just goes to show they're not a team that's going to settle, or they're not a team that's just going to think, oh, we've lost this one. They're going to battle to the end.
That says mentality.
Yeah.
Because if anything's going to keep them up, listen, there'll be a number of things that keep them up. Defensive strength and consistency, hard work, but mentality as well. There'll be a lot of teams that would give up the ghost against a superior side of superior quality and not believe that they can get anything out of that match. But, I mentioned Union Berlin, for example, earlier in the show. They go up against a juggernaut of a Bayern Munich side and they believe they can do it. They believe they can get something out of the game, and they do. And I think Sunderland are very, very similar. That's a club where the attitude reflects the leadership. Lebris has got them galvanised when he took over. Very similar thing. Who is this guy? Where's he come from? But clearly they've done their homework and realised that he'd be a good fit, and he's got them up, and now he's got them consistent. And
something we were talking about in the break about previously about experience.
Yeah.
Obviously, having someone like a Granit Xhaka in there is so important. Like you mentioned with my team, Brentford, Jordan Henderson. When you've got a young team, essentially, it's always good to have wise heads in there.
Well, listen, I've got to defer to Dan because he always tells me about Gary Mack when he was at Liverpool with a young team around him, but you've got that experience in the middle of the park. I mentioned in the break when John Terry came through at Chelsea, and he had Desai and Leboeuf and a lot of senior players in that particular side. look at the current Chelsea side now. They don't have any of that kind of leadership, but Brentford do, Sunderland do. That is a key reason why they are able to basically go into matches believing that they're going to get something, anything, right the way up until the final whistle.
And also what's quite impressive about Regis Labrie, like you mentioned there, around the hour mark, he took off all three of his sort of forward players. I mean, that's brave to do that, all three coming off at virtually the same time.
It was brave, but also sensible in that they'd run themselves into the ground, so he knew he needed energy. And that's also, as well, credit to the hierarchy at Sunderland for giving him backing, because they spent a few quid.
£154 million in the summer.
And so you'd expect to have some return on that. They will be tested when AFCON comes along.
Yes.
We've got quite a few players going away to that, so that'll test them. But he can't do any wrong at the minute. I mean, to get 4 points out of Chelsea and Arsenal is just incredible. and just quickly back to Xhaka, I think it's credit to his professionalism and mentality that he can go and be a big club player, winning a league in Germany, being in his last season as Arsenal, he was outstanding, playing in his normal position. He's taken on a hell of a challenge that many wouldn't, of his ilk, of his stature. When I think about myself, thinking, would I take that challenge on when the options he must have had?
Well, Bayer Leverkusen didn't want to let him go. I mean, Erik ten Hag was very, at that time, adamant they weren't going to sell him.
Well, that's my point. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. He'll get weighed in, and probably more than he was earning. But the reality. I was
thinking about you saying Ten Hag didn't want to let him go, and the hierarchy must have went, he's going anyway.
Well, I mean, I don't know what the fee was. I can't remember. So because it's his age, they're probably good money for his age. The reality is he's paying them back in spades, isn't he? Because the experience is one thing on the pitch. Off it's even more important, but it's quality. Yeah. So his football IQ, keep the ball, then we'll go forward. And he's scoring the odd goal. He's setting up the odd goal. He looks like somebody who's completely comfortable and at ease with who he is, what he's good at, what he's not. Just plays like a leader.
I saw one or two of the players saying that they're more worried, as upsetting Xhaka by allowing their standards to slip as the manager. And that says so much.
He signed for an initial 13 million.
And there'll be more if they stay up, I would imagine.
Yeah.
You see, what I like about that, and I know we've got to go to space, I'll be very brief. Henderson, for example, we mentioned him, but it would have been a similar thing for him. Do I go to a Brentford side who are likely to lose their best players, or do I take the challenge knowing that I can influence the players, the young, exciting players? And I think the club would have sold that to him as well. We want you to be that leader in this young, exciting team who need patience, direction, guidance, and leadership. And that's what both those players have provided.
Indeed. Right. We are going to turn our attentions to another North London team, this time Tottenham, who thought they'd won it against Manchester United, but the visitors to North London had different ideas as that one finished in a draw. We'll look back on that 2-2, 12:30 kickoff in just a minute here on Kickoff on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes, 18 and over, Gambler Dog.